Hello, everybody. Today, I'm just going to make a quick video about the breaking news of the day, and probably for a couple next days, is the firing of Claude Julien and Kirk Muller, and the hiring of Dominique Ducharme and Alex Burrows. Well, Dominique Ducharme as interim head coach, and Alex Burrows gets promoted to assistant coach. Well, in my opinion, this is good news. The Canadiens couldn't afford to continue slipping in the standings. The way they were playing recently in the last 8 games, having only won 2 in the last 8 games, compared to the first stretch of the season where we were seeing a completely different team. So some people might say the players didn't want to play for Claude Julien no more. Not sure if I'm ready to get to that point, if it was that bad. I'm sure there was some message sent from the players to Claude Julien concerning Claude Julien is more of an old mentality coach. Has that old mentality like the Mike Babcocks and the Ken Hitchcocks of the world. And I think that's outdated in today's NHL. You can see many teams in the NHL that have success, have young coaches that have more of a new mentality of coaching in the NHL and more of an offensive way of coaching a team. I think when we hired Dominique Ducharme a few years back, I had said, and anybody that has had this conversation with me knows that I said that Dominique Ducharme was probably going to be the next head coach of the Canadiens. I'm willing to give him a chance. He hasn't been head coach, so the decisions weren't his to make since he's been with the organization. So I'm willing to give a chance to Dominique Ducharme to show what he can do. So today, at practice, we should already see some changes in the lineups, in the trios, in the defensive pairings. We'll see what he could do. Everybody that knows me knows that I don't like the fact of playing with young players' confidence. I think young players should be told, go out, play hockey, have fun, go play your game. And when you make mistakes, I'll coach you then. At that point, I'll show you your mistakes, and I'll ask you not to try to do them again. But go out and play your game. You don't have to start out in the NHL knowing how to play two-way hockey right away. Two-way hockey is something that can I don't want to say easily, but can be taught. And since it can be taught, it would be easier to just let them play their offensive game where they're confident in their offensive game, like the Kotkaniemis, the Suzukis, the Romanovs. And when they do make mistakes, then you show them the video and you coach them. And you tell them, listen, this is where you made a mistake. I would rather you do this in that situation. And that's how in my opinion at least, I ain't no coach, but in my opinion, that's how, from observing other teams and other young players developing in the league, I've come to the conclusion that that's the way you develop young players. We could take, for example, Romanov coming off. Actually, first Kulak came off for Mete to come on. But ever since Kulak, that third pairing has been played with, they haven't been the same. And Romanov hasn't been the same since coming off, since missing that game. Now it seems like he's playing not to make mistakes instead of just playing his game. The mistakes will come. Look at Ottawa, for example. Very young team. They make mistakes. But the coach doesn't bench them for a full period or put them in the stands for a full game. No. He lets them play so they don't lose their offensive confidence. And then he probably in the video sessions, he shows them, listen, this is where you made a mistake. This is how it should be done. And I'd rather you try not to do that mistake again. But mistakes happen. And when you do another one, I'll show you where it was. And that's how you'll get better. At least that's my opinion in that case. About the thing I said in the beginning about the players stop playing for Claude Julien, I don't think that's the case. But there are some messages, like I said. And I think yesterday, in my opinion, Carey Price sent a few of those messages. Because it can be he's on his game to make those big saves he made, but then lets in those two blunders like that. Was there a message there sent? I don't know. I'm not in his head. But knowing Carey Price, it's a bit weird. He's either on his game or he's not. It's not. There's no in between with Carey Price. So maybe let me get into a bit of the three objectives of Dominique Ducharme as new interim head coach. I think number one is switch it up. Put in his philosophy. Maybe try out Romanov on that first pairing with Weber. Even though I like Chariot, but I don't like the fact of having two stay-at-home defensemen, as your first pairing. We see more and more in the NHL some puck moving and puck transporting defensemen, and at least have one on each pairing. I think would do good in the style of game that the Canadians could play. It could utilize their speed much more by having a puck moving defenseman playing with Weber. I know we've tried Mete in the past, but Mete's not. He's a very good skater, but he shouldn't be on a first pairing in the NHL. And I think Romanov has that potential. So I think would be a good tool to give back his confidence, his offensive confidence, is to put him on the first pairing with Weber. And I think Chariot would fit better on the third pairing, and you have Mete and Kulak interchangeable as his partner on that third pairing. What else can I say? Because in a short season, in a 56-game season, you can't allow yourself to go on a slump like the Canadians were about to go on. It's 3 games in a row you lose, 6 out of their last 8, 5 out of their last 6. We couldn't afford to lose another 2-3 games in a row. We're already 4th in our division, last playoff spot. May I remind you? So we couldn't continue slipping like that. So I think the change comes at the right time. Some people would have liked to see a bigger cleanup, meaning Bergevin to leave also. But I don't think Molson was going to do that in the middle of a shortened season. Especially with the pandemic in hand, where you'd have to bring in a new GM. Would probably have to quarantine for 2 weeks and stay away from the team. A new coach, the same thing. So I think in this situation is the best case scenario in our situation right now. But I think this is Marc Bergevin's last chance. He already fired 2 coaches. Usually GMs don't get that luxury too many times. So I think it's a make it or break it end of season for Marc Bergevin. I think Dominique Ducharme is the man for the job right now. I really like Bob Hartley, and I've always enjoyed Bob Hartley as a coach. But he is in Russia right now. That's the team that gave him a chance when nobody would. And by them naming Dominique Ducharme interim head coach, I think that's sending him a message and the fans a message saying that if things don't pan out the way we want, or he wants, or the organization wants, I think there will be a new coach coming in. So if things don't get better, if Ducharme doesn't make changes and we stagnate at this level of playing, I don't see Dominique Ducharme staying. But I am optimistic. I did follow his junior career. I liked him as a coach. I think he's a new era coach. He is a more of offensive style coach. Obviously, not being head coach, he couldn't install his philosophy, and now he has the chance to. Another objective of his will have to be to relaunch, if you will, Jonathan Drouin. He was his coach in the juniors. So I think he must I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the coach. He did coach Drouin in the juniors. Um, I, I think one of his objectives has to be by getting Jonathan Drouin comfortable and playing at his full potential. That's very important because we have to remember we did trade a top defensive prospect for this player, and he hasn't played to that potential or to that. How can I say? He hasn't contributed to the level that Sergachev was a prospect. You understand? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Sergachev was a big prospect, and we've seen what he's done in Tampa Bay. And we're thinking we're getting a superstar player, and right now until now he hasn't shown that. So I would like him to have his little project of making Jonathan Drouin reach his potential. And obviously, his third objective is to get this team to finish second in that division. We need that home ice advantage in the first round. I think it's important going forward in the playoffs. Now, I don't think... I don't even want to talk about the language issue, but all right, I'll touch on it a bit. I don't think he was hired only reason because he's French. I think this was the plan from the beginning. If it didn't work out with Julien, that Dominique Ducharme, they were going to give Dominique Ducharme a chance. They're going to give Dominique Ducharme a chance, and like I said, by giving him the interim position, then it's showing him that you got to show us what you can do. It's not we're giving you the job. Show us what you can do, and we'll renegotiate at the end of the season. I think that's fair for everybody, including Marc Bergevin, including Jeff Molson, who can, after reevaluate at the end of the season, if Bergevin deserves to stay also. And if he does, then Bergevin can reevaluate if Dominique Ducharme deserves to sign a new contract as the permanent head coach of the Canadiens. Okay, what else can I talk about? Well, the Canadiens. I've talked about the confidence of the young players, which is very important in their development. I think Kotkaniemi also can be a very strong piece in Dominique Ducharme's philosophy of play. Give him a chance. I don't like this line, that line with Armia. I don't like it. I want to see him with Toffoli and Perry again. Maybe Perry can play every game with them or won't be able to play the 15, 16 minutes with them. But I think it's a good veteran to have next to him. And they were playing good when they were together. Then, okay, we had a few bad games. You had to switch it up. I understand. But I like that. What else can... some people would like to see maybe Suzuki with the two best offensive wingers of the team, Anderson and Toffoli. I'd rather keep a bit of a balance. And since, like I said, I want Ducharme to make Jonathan Drouin reach his potential, I want to give him another chance with Anderson and Suzuki. But he's got to produce. He hasn't been playing that bad, but he's got to score goals. He can't only produce assists. He's got to score goals. So, in that case, Kirk Muller, I think, was part of that old mentality. I have nothing against Kirk Muller. Loved him as a player. Loved him last year as a replacement behind the bench for when Julien was out during the playoffs. But I think Ducharme is the man of the job. Alex Burrows apparently has been doing a good job with developing the young players in Laval with Joël Bouchard. So why not? He has stopped playing in the NHL not too long ago. So he gives the players a bit of a communication transmission between the coach and the players, since he hasn't been gone from the league in too long. So maybe the players will feel comfortable in communicating with Burrows. I think Joël Bouchard staying in Laval, because he has been doing a good job developing the players. We see what he did with Kotkaniemi, that short time he spent with him. And I think that's it, folks. That's basically my opinion on the Claude Julien and Kirk Muller firing. and the hiring of new interim head coach Dominique Ducharme. That's about it. So, guys, let me know in the comment section what's your opinion on this firing and the new hirings. And I'll be happy to communicate with you guys and continue the discussion in the comment section. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you soon.